Thank you so much for joining us today.
You're welcome.
Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, my name's Helen and I'm design manager here at Mivan.
And can you help us understand who Mivan is?
Yes, Mivan is an interior fit-out company. We have been trading since the mid-70s and we have a specialised joinery manufacturing facility in-house and our own design team in-house.
I'm sure it's very exciting projects that you work on. Can you maybe give us an idea of what kind of projects you've delivered?
Absolutely. We specialise in high-end fit-out, interior fit-outs of hotels, apartment buildings, front of house areas in apartment buildings, office buildings. We did work on the Scottish Parliament in Edinburgh some years ago, and very niche market of high-end properties.
Very, very interesting projects. Digital transformation has been quite the topic over these past 3-4 years over at Mivan.
Yes.
Can you help us understand from a design manager's perspective, what does digital transformation mean to you?
Well, I can remember when everyone worked on drawing boards and we moved from pen and paper to 2D CAD, which was quite traumatic at the time. So the move from 2D to 3D isn't quite as challenging as that, but it certainly forces us to think in a different dimension, obviously, and think in a different way, and the way that we operate our business has to change to accommodate that.
The industry has been changing a lot over the past 3 years, I imagine. Can you help us understand what changes you saw in the past few years that have resulted in your desire to move from 2D to 3D?
I think digital transformation is moving very fast, and we are seeing more and more clients wanting three-dimensional modelling in the design of their buildings. That then trickles down to the interior fit-out contractor, who also needs to work in a 3D environment. So I suppose that's driving what we are doing. We're being driven by industry forces and client requirements.
It's really interesting that you're feeling the pressure coming in from your customers. Are there any benefits from this move from 2D to 3D that you've seen that would have maybe made you want to make that move without that pressure coming in?
I think working in 2 dimensions is quite limiting. Working in 3 dimensions and modelling your joinery and your buildings forces you to uncover certain interfaces that you may not have thought about in 2 dimensions. So it does make your work more precise, and it does reduce errors in your work. And we're actually seeing that at the moment in the design office.
Can you talk to us a little bit more about that?
Yes, I think just really, especially with less experienced staff, when we're forced to think in 3 dimensions, we are looking at all interfaces, especially with where the joinery sits in the building itself, and the coordination. So coordination is a very important part of our work.
So from a design manager's perspective, I'm curious to know what the experience was like moving 2D to 3D. You said it was easier than moving pen and paper to 2D. Maybe could you walk us through what it was like these past 3 years with this evolution?
Probably challenging is the word. We're always very busy, and it was difficult to find a time to train people. We spent a lot of time working out how to model in Inventor the way that suited us best and suited our business best. So there was a lot of trial and error, but working along with yourselves, we overcame a lot of those issues that we had come across in terms of using the software. It's always difficult learning a new trade or a new trick, and people don't like change, but when you dive into it and make it work, then it has so many benefits.
Talking about benefits, I'm curious to know from your perspective, what are the main benefits that you were after in this move from 2D to 3D?
The client is seeing the end product in 3 dimensions before we manufacture. So they're seeing the model, they're seeing the finishes applied to that model, so they can see the colour of it, the shape of it, the detailing of it. And that's very important, especially for clients who don't understand 2-dimensional drawings terribly well.
So over these past 3 years, this move from 2D to 3D, or this whole digital transformation as a whole over at Mivan, was a very interesting journey that we both took part in. Can you maybe talk about the experience that you had working with the Autodesk team?
Well, of course it was remote because we were dealing with you either on Teams or Zoom or by telephone, but it was very beneficial. You were of great assistance to us in our early venture into 3D. You were always there to encourage us and to work out any issues that we had with us, find solutions when we had questions, and we had a lot of questions. But yes, you were always there to be called upon, and indeed you called meetings with us to check up on us and see how we were getting on. So it was all great.
Before wrapping up, could you maybe give an idea of looking back over these past 3 years and looking at Mivan today from a design manager's perspective? What are the improvements that you can say you've achieved? And as a follow-on question, what are the next steps for you?
I think we've proven to our clients that we can delve into the 3D world. We also work in Revit using Revit in our BIM projects, and the work that we do with Inventor and that link with Revit is really taking off, and it's working for us. The client is seeing that. The factory are seeing it because we're able to have good manufacturing output from the Inventor model. We're providing cutting lists to the factory team, bills of materials, and we're able to take a product from the model straight to CNC. So that misses out some processes that we would previously have had to do. It also benefits our site teams because they can look at the model and they can see, before they install the joinery, what issues may come up and how best to do that. So efficiencies are bettered all around.
So if you could summarize all of the improvements that you just mentioned right there into maybe one sentence or a few words, what would that sound like?
Well, I think the two main elements are increased collaboration and also coordination.
What software do you use exactly, and what does the workflow look like over at Mivan?
Well, we've been using AutoCAD LT for many years, so we're an Autodesk customer. We now use Autodesk Inventor and also Revit. So the Inventor mainly for joinery detailing and the Revit for our BIM modelling of architectural buildings.
Why exactly did you choose to work with Autodesk?
Well, we've been using Autodesk for a number of years. So we use Inventor now, but we did interrogate other software packages. But we did find that Inventor was best suited to us, especially as we were using Revit. And the number of companies and design teams using Autodesk products is vast. So it made sense to us because we're working with those teams to be also using Autodesk products.
Would you have been able to achieve this move from 2D to 3D without Autodesk?
I don't believe so. I think Autodesk have been instrumental in helping us on this journey, and I couldn't see it.